Hello, Midnights. We hope you enjoy our stories. Next up, the profound power of digits, numbers in folklore, conspiracy, and culture. Let us know where you are listening from, and don't forget to subscribe. Pre-word: I once knew a business owner, a brilliant Chinese-American entrepreneur, who spent thousands of dollars negotiating for a new phone number. She didn't want the cheapest number or the easiest to remember. She wanted a number packed with eights. When I asked her why she was paying such a premium, she explained that every 8 sounded like the word for prosperity. My clients, my partners, they see that number and they know the transaction is blessed, she told me. It's not superstition, it's cultural conviction. This story perfectly encapsulates the core thesis. For billions of people, numbers are far more than mere quantities. They are powerful cultural symbols that influence decisions, economics, and life itself. To fully grasp why mere digits inspire such intense belief, readers should understand the fundamental concepts that bridge mathematics and mysticism. Metaphor: the universal operating system, the most compelling way to understand the dichotomy of numbers is to view them as the universal operating system. Mathematics, like pi or the golden ratio, is the inherent, unchangeable code or programming language of reality, dictating physical laws. Folklore, conspiracy, and culture are the user interfaces that humans build atop that code. These interfaces are customized, based on cultural bias, fear, and language, but they are all attempts to interact with and derive meaning from the underlying numerical code. Numbers versus numerals: a number is an abstract concept of quantity, while a numeral is the symbol used to represent it. Most numerical folklore focuses on the concept of the number, not just the symbol. The power of pattern recognition: the human brain is hardwired to find patterns, even where none exist. This tendency is the psychological engine driving most number-based conspiracies. Psychiatrist Carl Jung noted that numbers are the most basic archetypes of order, helping to bring structure into the chaos of appearances. He believed the psyche uses them to express profound truths. The origin of zero, the introduction of zero, was a profound conceptual leap. Zero doesn't just mean nothing. It's a placeholder that makes advanced calculation and the entire decimal system possible. The numeral's circular shape often drives its mystical meaning, symbolizing the void, potential, or totality, the cosmic circle that represents both nothingness and completeness. The profound role of numbers extends into abstract concepts, forming the backbone of moral and political thought. Philosophical determinism: the precision of mathematics has led to the philosophical idea of numerical determinism. The 18th century scientist Pierre-Simon Laplace suggested a hypothetical superintelligence could perfectly calculate the future if it knew the exact location and momentum of every atom in the universe. This ideology sees the entire universe as a giant, predictable equation. Ethical calculation: in ethics, numbers form the basis of utilitarianism, a philosophy asserting that the most moral action is the one that maximizes overall utility or happiness. This requires a moral calculus, where consequences are quantified and weighed to determine the greatest good for the greatest number. Ideological and political symbolism: numbers are potent tools in political rhetoric. Political speeches frequently use the power of the rule of 3 for impact, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, harnessing the innate human cognitive bias toward pattern completion. The idea that numbers hold meaning beyond mere arithmetic is an ancient concept, often preceding modern scientific thought and shaping early philosophical systems. The movement was championed by the Greek philosopher and mathematician Pythagoras, whose school of thought, the Pythagoreans, held that all is number. They believed that numbers were not just tools for counting, but were the fundamental, divine components of the cosmos, structuring everything from musical harmony to astronomical order. Pythagoras is famously quoted as saying that number is the ruler of forms and ideas and the cause of gods and daemons. This mystical mathematical view evolved into modern systems like numerology and gematria, assigning mystical significance to words, which posits that the single digit numbers possess inherent qualitative energies. 1-to-1 unity in self represents the beginning, the unmanifested God, and the singular individual ego or initiating force. Duality and balance signifies pairing, contrast, and choice, embodying the tension between opposites: light, dark, male, female. 3. Completeness and triad: the number of divinity and structure seen universally in time, past, present, future, and religion, the Holy Trinity. It is foundational to storytelling and rhetoric. And 4, stability and earth, symbolizes foundation, security, and the physical world. It is associated with the 4 elements, the 4 seasons, and the square, representing solid, tangible reality. And in 5, change and freedom, represents the human experience and the central point. Between 1 and 9, signifying instability, adventure, and dynamic energy. 6, harmony and responsibility, the first perfect number, symbolizing balance, domestic life, and universal love. 7, perfection and spirituality, the number of spiritual cycles, luck, and completion. Its prevalence in religion. 7 days of creation, week, 7 deadly sins. Reflects a deeply ingrained belief in its complete spiritual journey. 8, power and infinity, represents the flow of material and spiritual energy and infinite cycles. In Eastern thought, it is highly prized for its association with wealth and prosperity. 9, completion and endings, the final single digit, symbolizing the culmination of cycles, wisdom, and the completion of a major phase before returning to unity. Order and totality signifies completion and a fresh start, representing a return to the unified source and symbolized by the sacred tetractys and Pythagorean thought. A balanced perspective addresses the inherent tension between skepticism and belief. This debate pivots on whether numerical meaning is inherent a feature of the universal OS code or fabricated a glitch in the user interface. The arbitrary meaning debate, critics argue that the importance of sacred numbers is arbitrary, stemming from the human choice of a base 10 counting system. Proponents respond that the significance is not mathematical, but linguistic and functional, since nearly all global cultures do use base 10. The cultural power of 7 or 10 is real, regardless of its mathematical origin. The bias versus effect debate, critics dismiss conspiracies like the 23 Enigma as simple confirmation bias, people only noticing the number when it appears. Proponents counter that this psychological bias doesn't diminish the number's social power. The collective belief, even if rooted in bias, drives measurable economic decisions. For example, house prices, proving the number's societal effect is tangible. The scientific objectivity debate, scientific critics insist numbers are purely abstract tools for quantity. Proponents argue the link is not scientific, but philosophical or aesthetic. The appearance of the golden ratio in both nature and art suggests numbers are the natural blueprint for aesthetic harmony. The cultural relativity debate, critics point to the fact that a number's luck status changes dramatically across borders. For example, 4 is death in China, 17 is death in Italy, proving the meaning is entirely socially constructed. Proponents concede this variability, but argue it demonstrates how deeply numbers are integrated into human language, history, and theology, acting as powerful cultural identifiers. The way societies have viewed and used numbers has fundamentally shaped major historical trends. Ancient measurement and sacred geometry, the belief in sacred geometry, that's certain. Ratios and shapes, often derived from numbers like pi or phi, old divine meaning, influenced the construction of monumental structures, from the pyramids of Giza to Gothic cathedrals. The Protestant Reformation in 666, the use of gematria and the number 666 became a powerful propaganda tool during the 16th century Reformation, used by reformers to argue that the papacy was the Antichrist. The rise of scientific rationalism, the historical shift from a mystical view of numbers to a purely quantitative one, marks the birth of modern science. Galileo Galilei asserted that mathematics is the language with which God has written the universe. Wartime code breaking, the importance of numbers shifted to national security during World War II, exemplified by the breaking of the German Enigma code, cementing the modern understanding of numbers as the foundation of information and security. How people view the significance of numbers is deeply dependent on their background, often resulting in measurable, real-world effects. Economic impact of fear, the U.S. economy loses hundreds of millions of dollars annually. Some estimates exceed $800 million due to Triskaidekaphobia, fear of 13, as people avoid commerce and travel on Friday the 13th. Socio-economically driven cultures. In East Asia, beliefs in numbers are highly material. The auspicious number 8, pronounced like to generate wealth, has direct commercial value. Phone numbers and addresses containing 8 can sell for double or triple the normal price. For instance, the opening ceremony of the Beijing Olympics began at precisely 8 p.m. on August 8, 2008. Conversely, the number 4 is highly inauspicious because its pronunciation is a near homophone. for the word death in Chinese, Japanese, and Korean, leading many buildings to skip floors. Containing the digit 4. Religious and mystical backgrounds. Individuals view numbers as having inherent, divinely encoded meaning, serving as structural keys to understanding scripture, for example, Kabbalah. Scientific anomalies. Even in pure math, numbers behave strangely. Modern number theory has uncovered statistical anomalies where prime numbers tend to avoid being followed by another prime ending in the same digit. Mathematicians playfully dub this an observed conspiracy, showing that numbers can exhibit unexpected, non-random behaviors. The modern era has turned certain numbers into powerful cultural motifs, driving both conspiratorial belief and global shared experience. 666, the number of the beast, the most infamous. Number is 666, drawn from the Book of Revelation. Scholars interpret this as a form of gematria, where the Hebrew spelling of the name Nero Caesar sums to 666, marking him as the coded enemy of the early church. Ironically, in parts of Chinese internet slang, 666 is a lucky number, meaning everything goes smoothly. The 23 Enigma. This is the conspiratorial belief that the number 23 appears with unusual frequency. In various contexts across history, biology, humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes, and culture, popularized by Robert Anton Wilson and William S. Burroughs, believers in the 23 Enigma are often susceptible to confirmation bias, seeing the number everywhere once the idea is planted. 42. The ultimate pop culture answer. The number 42 is an iconic cultural touchstone thanks to Douglas Adams' The Hitchhiker. Guide to the Galaxy, where it is the calculated answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. It has become a global shorthand for the philosophical meaninglessness of searching for a single definitive truth. The sequence 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42 from the TV show Lost was so influential that it was played by an estimated 9 to 10% of all entrants in the US. Powerball lottery on the week it was heavily promoted. The Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio phi. The Fibonacci sequence, where each number is the sum of the two preceding ones, is culturally significant because the ratio it approaches is the golden ratio. This ratio is the geometric blueprint for aesthetic perfection. The famed astronomer Johannes Kepler described this relationship as a precious jewel, recognizing its recurrence in nature such as the spirals of a nautilus shell or a sunflower head, and art, representing the organic harmonious growth found everywhere. Numbers are the purest form of objective truth, yet they are the canvas upon which humanity projects its deepest fears, greatest hopes, and most lucrative superstitions. Given that numbers possess both objective mathematical purity and profound cultural power, where do you draw the line between the predictable code of the universe and the subjective meaning-making interface of the human mind?